So these views, dualism, non-dualism, and qualified non-dualism. So that's the thing to get your head around. And what I really want to impress upon you is how all of these very, very different philosophical views and ideas have coexisted in India for centuries. And they argue like anything over if God exists, if not, whether God is one or two or three, whether God is the same thing as your soul or not. They argue all of that. And I think that is very refreshing. And we don't really have that going on in our culture. You're either a Christian or you're an atheist. The sages say that there are two worlds. There's one inside and one outside. And as we watched yesterday, Diti and Aditi, that which is outside in the material world and that which is inside, that which is visible and that which is not visible. That's really the meaning of Diti and Aditi. The soul turns to matter to get its enjoyment, but it discovers that as soon as the matter is finished, you're not enjoying anymore. So the soul turns to God to get its enjoyment and realizes that that's infinite, that never lets you down. So what route you choose, whether you're, a Hindu or a Buddhist or a Christian, or whether you're Baptist or Methodist or Catholic or whatever your deal is, fine. But have that inner journey. Shankaracharya said that it's all one thing. It's all one stuff. And his period was about 700 or 800 current era. And he was debating with Buddhists very much. So in many ways, Shankaracharya's philosophy and this non-dualism is kind of an answer. It's an Advaitan's answer to Buddhism. And they, Buddhists don't believe in God, Hindus do, and they've been just hashing it out for hundreds of years, okay? So the fundamental thing is there's an inside world and an outside world. I was talking about that yesterday. People who are into spirituality believe that the inside world is going to create their happiness and that everything will be okay on the outside if they can get to the right place on the inside. Materialists believe that, no, you have to get it right on the outside first. And if you don't have enough money and you don't have enough of what you need, you're not going to be at peace. And they're both kind of right in a way. The sages of yore, as Narasimhan will say, said that there is a happiness that's inside of us that's inexhaustible and doesn't rest on any other person or any other thing. And that if you can plug into that, you're safe. Whatever happens in your life, you're fine. You can deal with it. And they all talk about it. And some people call it God and say that you should surrender to God, you should devote yourself to God. Some people don't like the God concept, and so they're like, fine with that. Explore what is inside of you and merge with that, unite with that, and fine. We don't care what you call it. Just get in there and figure it out. So atheist or theist, it doesn't matter. Both are profound practitioners. They just talk about things a little bit differently. And of course they argue. But then the question is, if you accept God, what is it? This is really tricky. And who is it? And in Western culture, it's like, well, do you believe in Christ or not? But in their culture, they've got like thousands of different, millions of gods, in fact, and they're all part of this one thing. And that one thing is all encompassed in the sun. So you can get your head around that one. Maybe you don't like sun worship. Maybe that sounds a little primal and primitive and whatever, but they say that consciousness emits from the sun. That is God one or two or three? Shankaracharya said, it's all one stuff. You are God. God is inside of you. He's outside of you. He's everything. Which is a lot like saying there is no God. One group says there's no God. Another group says, no, actually everything is God. but you haven't defined anything necessarily. You're just kind of flip-flopping between two opposite views in a way, but they're essentially the same. That's just 180 degrees. Nothing is God, everything is God. You still haven't defined anything. Now, Madhava, he was the acharya who taught Dvaita, dualism, which is more up our alley. God is in heaven and you worship God through different kinds of rituals, and you pray and you react, you have a relationship. I remember my cousin called me up and said, I just wanted to see, how is your relationship with Jesus Christ these days? And we had a wonderful conversation, and I appreciate his concern. But that he's not asking me, how is your relationship to your own inner self? Christ is a separate entity, and I'm supposed to sort of get in touch with him, right? So he doesn't call me. So Vishishtadvaita is who Krishnamacharya is and came from. And Natamuni Sampradaya is Vishishtadvaita. And that philosophy is different. And it's qualified non-dualism. He basically said that, yeah, it's all one thing. That's fundamentally true, but it's not equal. It doesn't have equality. He's against equality. And that idea is throughout their worldview. They don't believe in treating people equally. People are not equal. They're equal in the sense that they all, you should observe their basic human rights and everything. You should give everybody the benefit of the doubt, like that. But if I know that you're a thief, I'm not going to leave you alone in my house. If you're my dear friend who I've known for many years, I would give you the key to my house and tell you where everything is, and I would leave you there. If you're someone who's rude, I probably wouldn't ask you for a favor. If you owe me a favor, I probably would ask you for a favor. It's like it's all different. You try to treat everybody the same, you can't, because they're not. Even your own very close family, they're just your kids. They're not the same. You can do some things with one and some things with the other, but it's not equal. So they make that point. And then they make the point that God is the big thing. You are the little thing. You're a part of God, but you're not equal. Just like the drop of water is the same thing as the ocean, but it's not equal to the ocean. It's different. And personally, all that makes much more sense to me.